Hiya, welcome back to Getaway Girls TV. Today we're excited to have Labour MP Dawn Butler with us today. I'm Sharon, I'm 20 years old. I started going to Getaway Girls when I was 13 and now I'm at university studying cardiac physiology.
Hi, I'm Kiana. I've been at Getaway Girls since I was 14 years old, and now I'm 21 and I'm working at Getaway Girls as a vocal girls coordinator, and it's my job to help the girls make changes in Leeds with the ambition of making Leeds the first women-friendly city in the UK.
Perfect. And hi, I'm Emily. So I usually work in PR, but I also help out with Getaway Girls on the side a little bit. So I do their social media and little bits of PR and things like that. So yeah, as Sharon mentioned, we're really excited that we've got MP Dawn Butler with us today. She's the Labour MP for Brent Central. And we're super excited because we just think it's a perfect fit with Getaway Girls and what we do. Obviously, you served as Secretary of State for Women and Equalities, and then you were the Vice President for the British Youth Council and things like that. So it just really fits with what Getaway Girls stands for. Just to start, we just want to really thank you for doing this. We're so excited that you're here with us.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Anything that I can do to help and empower young women, then I will always do my best.
I thought we'd start off with a little icebreaker. So what have you all enjoyed doing throughout lockdown?
And what have I enjoyed doing? Well, I haven't actually enjoyed the number of Zooms that I've done. I mean, it's like I'm totally zoomed out. It's just like Zoom upon Zoom upon Zoom. And I actually enjoy meeting people. But I have kind of enjoyed, I don't know what I've enjoyed. I kind of enjoyed how much you make an effort to contact other people because, you know, your day has changed. So, you know, you're kind of making more of an effort to contact somebody you haven't spoken to for a while to see if they're okay and how they're doing. And I quite enjoyed that, actually.
I think I've enjoyed not feeling pressured to do anything, like go out and just having that time to myself every day. I quite like it.
I've really enjoyed, I've had the opportunity to go on lots of different walks. I'm going out a lot more. So I'm hoping to carry on doing that after lockdowns happen. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to do it, more free time.
Yeah, same as Kiana, really. I've enjoyed the slowness of life because usually it's very stressful. And I've been put on furlough, so I've got to spend a lot more time with my little boy, which is nice, which I don't usually get to do, and just going for walks and discovering places that are really close to your house that you've never been. But yeah, it's been nice. I think I'm ready to go back to work though.
Our first question to you, Dawn, is: can you think of 3 words to describe yourself best?
3 words to describe myself best: caring, intense, and I'd say a juggler, because I tend to juggle lots of different things at the same time. I keep a lot of balls in the air, you know, and I have lots of ideas. I'm an ideas generator. So I think those will probably be the 3 words that I describe myself.
Amazing.
I'm super excited about this interview because I do have the ambition of becoming an MP in the future. I've been quite involved with the Labour Party in my local constituency, and I've done some shadowing of some MPs, and it's something that I really enjoy. So a question I'd like to ask you from that: what was your motivation behind becoming an MP?
Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I wasn't initially motivated to become an MP. I was a trade union official at the time, so I was a full-time trade union official. So I would go around and help people at their workplace, help people with their rights, help people if they had problems at work. And now's the time that we need trade unions more than ever. I'll just throw that in. Let me apologize for my deep Barry White tone, by the way. I'm kind of losing my voice, so it's kind of a couple of octaves lower than it would normally be. So yes, I wasn't initially motivated to be an MP, but what had happened, and I think this happens quite a lot in life, is that there was a seat where the MP had vacated that seat, and there was going to be a selection process. and the Labour Party has all women shortlists. And so there were loads of men who had, you know, been planning on getting that seat, you know, as they do, they carve it up for themselves, they have all their little discussions and, you know, this is going to be their seat. And then it was an all women shortlist. And so that really irritated and annoyed a lot of them. And then some of them got together and said, you know, we want sort of a socialist to stand for it, a trade unionist. And they had this discussion and they decided that person was going to be me. And so they asked me to stand and I said, no, I'm okay, I'm cool, I'm happy with what I'm doing. And then they kept asking and asking. And that's another thing that often happens, to be honest. And I never ever felt that I fell into that category of the woman who really had to be persuaded to do something, because I'm always like, well, I know what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes, you know, it does happen. And then in the end, I thought I could be the kind of MP that I want to be. And so I said, okay, then I'll throw my hat in the ring. And I did. I didn't win, but my kind of philosophy in life is that you don't lose, you learn. So whenever something presents itself to you and it doesn't work out, instead of focusing on the negative on that, you focus on the positive and you take your learnings from that. So I don't say that I lost, I learned. And then I brought that with me. And then I wanted to become an MP because I had then persuaded myself that actually this is something that I really can do and can do it my way. And so that's kind of my journey into politics. And the last time I stood, or the time before the last time I stood in 2015, after my seat disappeared, Brent South, I was determined to become an MP, more determined than I'd ever had been. And that was also brought on by the fact that there were so many people who told me that I couldn't do it. And they said, you won't do it. You know, nobody kind of comes back and becomes an MP and you won't make it. And just somebody telling me that I won't make it. I mean, it's the worst thing you can say to me is like, Dawn, you can't do it or you're not going to make it. Because I'll be like, oh, yes, I can. And so that was what drove me. And I felt like I had unfinished business. And I don't like leaving things unfinished. And I think politically, I had unfinished business. All the changes that I wanted to see happen, you know, wasn't happening. So I needed to sort it out. So that's part of the reason why.
Oh, wow. Thank you. It's really encouraging to hear that even when people tell you no, you can still push through it and use that as your motivation. And we seen in 2017 you did an interview and you'd said that one of your most memorable moments in your career was standing in the dispatch box in Parliament because you was the first Black woman to do so. I was wondering whether that is still one of the most memorable moments for you, or has things changed in the last 3 years?
I mean, it's still very memorable for all of those, you know, reasons, like making history, do you know what I mean? And when I was stood there, I mean, if you watch it back, it might not look like it, but I was so nervous standing at that dispatch box and knowing that, you know, I was the first Black woman to ever stand here and be a government minister and speak on behalf of the government in the UK. And knowing that just a few months earlier, we'd been discussing slavery and the abolition of slavery. And I was just thinking, oh my God, this is a really powerful, momentous moment. And then having like the Tories try to throw me off my game. But I was well prepared. You know, I mean, I was over prepared, as we normally are. You know, lots of times, you know, women of colour, you know, we are over prepared for whatever we do. And knowing that, you know, somebody tried to, he said to me, I'd use the word upskilling. And he said that word wasn't in the Oxford Dictionary. And I was like, I think you'll find that it's a very well-known term. If you'd like, I can explain it to you later, you know, that kind of thing. But it was knowing that, you know, that powerful kind of moment was mine. So that's still a very, very proud moment for me and my mum. She's the only one that kind of talks about it. But thank you for mentioning it. But I suppose other things that I'm proud of, I suppose I'm proud of not being silent. I'm proud of, even though people have tried to silence me, my voice, African Caribbean people, Black Lives Matter movement, I'm proud of not allowing anyone to silence me. And yeah, I'm proud of that.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, that kind of links into my next question, which was what challenges have you faced as a woman in politics and how have you overcome them?
So many challenges. And remind me at the end to tell you my theme tune, and I'll tell you it at the end, because that's got me through a lot of difficult times. But so many challenges. So trying to, sometimes, when people don't want to believe that there are challenges, oh, it's fine, you just have to work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, all of this motivational kind of talk they try to give you, and especially when you're a woman of color, it just doesn't equate to our life experiences of what we have to go through and the intersectionality of it all, and the fact that so you have to kind of break it down. So you have to say to people, well, you have to find something they can identify with. So you say, well, if you're working class and you speak like with a Cockney accent or whatever, people dismiss you. Or if you speak in a different kind of accent, people automatically judge you or dismiss you. You say, well, it's like that for us. And then some. You say like, well, if you're a woman in a space that's just men and you say something around the table and then it gets ignored and then a man says it and then everyone goes, oh, wow, that's an amazing idea, John. Well done on that idea. And you think, yeah, but I said it 10 minutes ago. It's like that and then some. And so you kind of have to break it down to something where people can understand, and then you build on it for them and you say, well, that's what it's like for me. And then there's more, and then there's more. And an analogy that I use is like, people will say, we gave you both the same distance to run in a race. So you both had to run 100 meters. What's the problem? Why are you complaining? You both had to run 100 meters. That's fair. And then you turn around and you say, yeah, but mine had hurdles. And then, slowly people begin to understand that, the journey is really tough and hard. And just because we made it, it doesn't mean that the system is any fairer. It just means that we broke down a few of those barriers, or we were extra fast, or we could, jump extra high, or we tolerated a lot of stuff we shouldn't tolerate. But it doesn't mean that the system is fair. And so what we have to do is we have to tackle the system and the systemic and structural barriers that stand in the way of us succeeding. And we have to break that down. And until we do that, we're never going to get equality or equity in the system. And so every year I set myself like a theme, and I talk through that theme, and the theme developed throughout the year. I mean, I had a theme for 2020, but obviously everybody's plans for 2020 has changed. 2020 is like, changed everything for all of us. But I think maybe it was 2019, I think my theme was the ladder of success. So this year, 2020, was going to be embracing your awesomeness. That was going to be my theme for this year, and I was going to work on it. But as I say, that all changed, and now it's all about biases and racism, and we're talking about that. But yeah, to 2019 was all about the ladder of success, and basically, everybody knows about, most people know about the career ladder. The people talk about climbing up this career ladder. And I say the problem with the career ladder is that it's designed for one person. The career ladder is designed for one person to go up that ladder. And so many times the person who goes up that ladder forgets the person at the bottom that's been holding that ladder steady for them, making sure that their journey was, okay. And when they get to the top, sometimes they'll push the ladder away or, pull it up. When I say it's time to get rid of the career ladder, the ladder of success, and to lay the foundations for an escalator. so that you can get to where you're going by your own merits. So you don't have to, so each rung of that ladder represented, represented a hurdle that you had to go through, whether it was racism or sexism or homophobia or, anything like that. Each rung of that ladder is a hard fought step up, whereas really you should just be judged by the quality of your work. Mm-hmm. So if you're on an escalator, you can just move up without you having to, deliberately have to face all those rungs. And then I would describe privilege as the lift. So privilege presents itself as a lift, and lots of white men have the combination to the lift, to that privilege lift, where they don't even have to worry about the ladder or an escalator. They could just go straight to the lift, press a button, and they're at the top. And there's so many what we call accidental managers, where there's people in positions you think, well, how on earth did you get there? You're not that great. So, who put you in that position? And that's just basically them getting in a lift, getting to the top, having mates, part of that club. And so until we can start dismantling all of those things and everybody having access to the lift, then we've got a long way to go in the battle for equality.
I think the way you just explained privilege, I think that's a really, really good way to explain it. We've done a couple of episodes. First 2 episodes of Getaway Girls TV have been on racial justice, and we're talking about white privilege and how it's frustrating, when white people can't acknowledge their privilege. But I think that is such a good way of explaining it, and I'm going to use that moving forward. Like, this is what
it is. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. So talking of racial justice, we read that in 2016 you were mistaken for a cleaner in an elevator, and also your office has recently been closed due to threats and abuse from the public. Do you think that the current Black Lives Matter movement is going to help hopefully prevent these things happening to future Black MPs?
I hope so, but I don't think so, if I'm completely honest. We've still got a long way to go. Parliament, was never designed for somebody like me. Parliament, was literally designed for white men, mainly lawyers, who at the end of a day's work would go into the chamber. That's why there's no windows, smoke on a cigar, set a couple of laws for, the people below. And that's how Parliament was designed, really. So we've got a long way to go. And that's why it's important that Parliament represents the people that it seeks to serve. So we have a really long way to go. But I do think that Black Lives Matter is a global movement about injustice. Mm-hmm. It's a global movement about educating people on why Black Lives Matter, on why this isn't about, it's about highlighting the fact that one group has been disproportionately attacked in so many ways in every single area of society. And unless we correct that wrong, then society will never be right. And so I think eventually we will get there. And I'm optimistic because there are so many people fighting this fight of injustice. There's not just about one group of people in the streets, it's everybody recognizing that Black Lives Matter. Because if it works for Black people, it works for white people, it works for Asian people, it works for African Caribbean people, it works for LGBTQI plus people, it works for women, it works for disabled people, it works for working class people. It will work for everyone if we get this right, and that's why I think it's important.
Definitely, thank you. I just wanted to ask, how did you feel when you were voted Labour MP of the Year?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, obviously, I don't do this for awards or anything like that. My reward is when I fix something for my constituent, when I get justice, when I change the law for the better. That's what you do it for. That's what you got get the buzz for. But when you get acknowledged in like a public forum, there's been times where I've just been totally shocked, and I was like, oh, what did I thought I was coming to present an award. Did I win an award? And so there's been times like that, but it's just it feels special. And it's always an honor, and it's always very humbling to receive and accept an award of that kind.
You're a very influential female, and especially to someone like me, being a black female as well. Like, all your work is very inspiring. And I just wondered whether you had any messages that you'd like to give, any life advice to someone like myself or any other black females, just to like uplift them and encourage them, especially with this Black Lives Matter movement.
Absolutely. As I say, remind me at the end. I'll end on my theme tune. I would say surround yourself with people who believe in you, who you trust, who will tell you the good and the bad. Surround yourself with those people and make them your armor. Because every time you come out of your home, some people even in their own home, you put on an armor, and you need to surround yourself with people who are going to energize you, because life drains you. It drains. I say, like, sometimes it's like a battery. It drains you, and so you need to find that input that is going to recharge you, and that needs to stay with you forever. Don't let anybody tell you that you are less than, because they will. And you need to know that you are more than, and you always have been more than, and you always are enough. Because if they wouldn't attack you if you didn't have something special. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they weren't trying to hold you back. And the fact is, the people who get defensive are the people who are scared that they're going to be found out, that they're scared that you're going to expose them for their inadequacies. So don't doubt you because somebody's trying to doubt you. And people will be really nasty and horrible to you, but don't let them get into your headspace or your airtime, because their views don't matter. If it's the people that are closest to you, then that's different. Do you know what I mean? Because you're invested in them. But those people on the outside, don't let them get into your headspace. So you build your armor yourself where they can't get through. And actually, I say things like, when people say negative things about you, put it in a box and then stand on it. And every time somebody says something, you put it in another box and you stand on it. And then you just become taller and taller and taller with all of their negativity. So their negativity does not bring you down. It builds you up. It drives you. That's when people says, Dawn, you're not going, there's no way you're going to make it as an MP. I'm like, watch me, because their negativity fed me to propel me to do it. There was times when I thought, God, why am I doing this? And it was actually the negative people were the ones that think the positive people are great, and the negative people, I was just like, I'm going to show you. So, you take your energy from positivity from the people around you. And if you're going to break down, you break down to the people who you trust the most. And it's fine to do that too. Do you know what I mean? It's fine to do that. Don't, people think that we are super women. They think like mothers are super women. You can be a mum and you can work from home and you can do all the work, and all of a sudden you're doing everything. And, they're like, well, that's cool. And also, if you're a woman of color, you're both visible and invisible. And it's just so amazing that sometimes you're invisible, like, you know, you're in a room and you're invisible, like nobody acknowledges you, nobody acknowledges what you say or what you do. You're thinking, wow, I'm totally invisible. But if you do something wrong, all of a sudden, everyone's talking about, oh, do you remember the time when Dawn said that? Oh my God, she got it wrong. Oh, you know, so everyone remembers that, but they don't remember the hundreds of thousands of times that you just say, right. And it's just so interesting that you can be both visible and invisible, you know, depending on what they want, you know, and how they want to judge you. So, you know, sometimes when my office manager is a white guy, and we'll walk into an event and they'll automatically go up to him and say, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you're waiting for Dawn Butler, and surely you did some research and you would have at least Googled me and seen that I'm a Black woman with natural hair, and you would know that I'm actually the MP, but you still choose, you just can't help yourself. You still choose to go up to the white guy and welcome him as the MP. And he goes all red and he says, you know, I'm here with Dawn. Dawn's the MP. And, you know, it gets really embarrassing and it gets really awkward. And, you know, depending on the mood, I might challenge it, you know, depending on the mood. And then that person gets really awkward. And I'm just like, you know, sort yourselves out. You know, Black women can be MPs, you know, live with it. So, so sometimes I will walk into a room, and especially a room that I know it's going to be an uncomfortable room for me. And I'll walk into the room and I will take a couple of deep breaths. So deep breaths are an amazing tool. You know, learn to take a deep breath. Do you know what I mean? Just learn to take a deep breath. Learn to live with that. I learned to live with that moment of that little moment for yourself of silence or composure. Don't feel any way about just taking a deep breath before you respond. It does wonders, right? So learn to take a deep breath. So sometimes I would stand at the doorway, at the entrance of a room, and I'll just take a deep breath and I'll just take in the room, and I'll be like, you guys think you're going to mess with me today, but it ain't going to happen, because I'm taking you all in right now. I'm the MP, get used to it, here I come. And sometimes I will just do that. And that whole process, you know, it doesn't take long, you know, it's just literally a minute. But in that process, I've owned the room myself. So there's nothing that anybody can say that's going to do anything, because I've owned all of them already. I did that when I first got into the room. So that would be another tip that I would give you. Own the room and take a deep breath. Don't feel away about taking a deep breath.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to ask you, Dawn, what's the song that you always go back to uplift you, to make you feel powerful? If you've got more than one, like, that's fine.
There are a couple. There are quite a couple. A lot of it sometimes depends on my mood and what I need in that moment in time. So there's loads of different songs, and my dad was a musician, so there's loads of different songs, like Bob Marley, loads of different songs. But my theme song that gets me through every time is La Vie C'est Free, right? And it's Something Inside So Strong. And it goes like this. The higher they build their barriers, the taller I become. The farther they take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me. You can choose to turn your face away, no matter, because there's something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho, your lies will come tumbling. You squander wealth that's mine, deny my place in time. My light will shine so brightly, it will blind you. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, we know better. Look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. Because there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though they're doing me wrong, so wrong. They thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice end to the interview, to be honest. And that song kind of just rounds off everything we're talking about. So yeah. Do you have any questions for us, or I don't know?
No, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep striving, keep growing, keep encouraging other women to walk in their power and to feel their strength, and just wishing everybody all the best, and to know that you are enough, and that there's something inside of all of you that's so strong. So keep striving.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again. It's been a pleasure. It's been really, really great to meet you.
Pleasure. I should publicly thank Getaway Girls for everything that you do, and may you continue to grow and get more and more girls on board.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Getaway Girls TV. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.